với núi Kim Cương. Tôi biết rằng là có rất là nhiều bạn ở đây cũng đã bay một quãng đường dài để đến tham dự với chúng ta ở đây. Cảm ơn các bạn đã đến, cảm ơn tất cả mọi người. Nó thực sự rất là tuyệt vời. Ừm, Thời tiết thì cũng rất là hoàn hảo. À, chúng ta chúng ta có một tuần là mùa thu, một tuần là mùa xuân ở đây và chúng ta rất là may mắn. À, cảm ơn các bạn đã đến. Tôi biết rằng là đây là một cái quãng đường rất là dài đến với các bạn đây. Các bạn có thể là sẽ cảm thấy buồn ngủ từ cái hành trình của các bạn. Vào mỗi thứ bảy và thứ hai tôi dạy trong lớp phiên dịch. Và thứ bảy tôi cũng có dạy một lớp học. Thông thường thì chủ yếu nó dạy cho các lớp học cho các bạn ở châu Âu. Ờ, và, và vào 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 buổi thứ hai thì tôi sẽ có hai lớp học buổi chiều. Ừm, các bạn cũng có thể xem ở Mỹ hoặc là ở châu Á, các bạn cũng có thể theo dõi được. Tôi thì có một cái quy luật khi mà tôi dạy, đó là tôi dạy đó là không có quan tâm là nơi tôi ở đâu về những cái gì mà tôi đang làm, mà nó dành mất của tôi khoảng 2 năm cho cái việc là tôi là cái người quản trị tất cả những cái, tôi là người giám đốc của tất cả những cái tổ chức mà tôi làm ra, và tôi biết rằng là tất cả những gì mà đang vận hành ngay bây giờ, bởi vì tôi nghĩ rằng nó là một cái phần rất là quan trọng với những cái nguồn liệu từ cái tài nguyên cổ xưa. Và tôi biết rằng là những cái lớp học về cái phiên dịch thì biên phiên dịch rất là khó. Cái lớp học pháp dịch, lớp dịch huyền trang á, và nếu như bạn không hiểu những cái điều đó thì những cái gì mà ông nội đang nói, luôn luôn nói về những cái điều đó, nếu như mà tôi dạy một cái gì mà bạn đã biết rồi thì nó không có lý do gì mà bạn phải đến cái lớp học đó cả. Nhưng mà tôi nghĩ rằng là tôi phải cho bạn một cái thứ gì đó mà bạn không biết, nhưng mà sau đó thì nó sẽ cần nhiều hơn cái sự nhẫn nại. nó chúng ta không học những cái thứ, nếu như chúng ta không học những thứ mới sau khi chúng ta kết thúc đại học thì chúng ta không học những cái thứ mới. Ờ, Vậy nên là tôi luôn luôn dạy không, cái vấn đề là tôi ở đâu hay là những cái gì mà tôi đang làm về những cái thứ đó. Vào buổi sáng thứ bảy thì chúng ta thường bắt đầu với phần thiền định, bởi vì trong ACI á, thì ACI thì luôn yêu cầu tôi là phải thu âm 101 bài, bài thiền. Tại sao lại 101? Vậy thì tôi cũng thu âm tất cả những bài thiền để cho những thế hệ tương lai của Lan Dream, và chúng tôi làm nó cho tới ngày nay. Và thông thường những cái bài thiền thì tôi sẽ mở mắt ra thì tôi sẽ lắng nghe và tôi sẽ thiền định. Và chúng ta sẽ có 45 phút thiền định, và sau đó thì chúng ta có 15 phút đi đi vệ sinh hay là chúng ta nghỉ giải lao. Có vài người thì có thể sẽ là bắt đầu nghỉ ngơi lâu hơn, nhưng mà và sau đó chúng ta sẽ đến với cái lớp học và lớp học dịch mà thầy Tim là là giám đốc của ACI. Và thầy cũng dịch một cuốn sách luận giải về cái sự hoàn hảo của trí tuệ. Nó rất ở trong trường phái trung đạo. À, và nó mất khoảng 50 năm, và tôi không biết là điều gì nó sẽ xảy ra, nhưng mà chúng ta có cái bản bản cái bản chúng tôi có một cái bản ở đó, cái bản gốc ở đó, và chúng tôi cũng đã tôi ờ, tôi đã tìm nó ở Nga, ở ở Nga, và tôi đang cố gắng tìm ra cái đó. Chúng tôi đã cố gắng tìm nó trong vòng 20 năm để có được cái bản đó. Và ngày hôm nay, cái phần thiền định của ngày hôm nay á, trong Landrim, nó là một cái phần rất là nó là một cái phần khởi đầu. Nó là một cái phần miêu tả về, giống như là cái sự nghiệp Pháp của bạn đó, giống như là cái sự nghiệp về Pháp của bạn nó sẽ như thế nào á. Và thông thường thì nó cũng sẽ có những cái sự khác nhau. Nó sẽ có hai cái sự khác nhau, cái sự lựa chọn khác nhau ở đây chúng ta gọi là lam rim Sumbawa.
Okay, good. Lam rimba means
Lam rimba có nghĩa là tiếp cận, giống như là bạn biết là bạn đi từng bước một để tiếp cận vào cái điều đó. Và thông thường thì trong những cái trải nghiệm thì có nghĩa là cái người thầy sẽ dạy cho bạn những cái phần thực hành về cái phần thiền định của bạn, và giải thích về giải thích cho bạn về cái đó trong lớp học. Và sau khi mà bạn quay về cái cabin của bạn á, bạn quay về cái đời sống thường nhật của bạn, thì bạn cố gắng trở thành cái người giống như vậy đó. Vậy thì đôi khi thì nó sẽ chờ cho đến khi mà bạn trở nên thuần thục cái cấp độ đầu tiên, rồi sau đó họ sẽ dạy bạn đến cái cấp độ thứ hai. Vậy thì nó sẽ mất thì vài trăm năm đó. Vậy thì thông thường thì nó khoảng trong 14 năm tôi cũng đã đi qua Lam Dream từng bước một, và hướng dẫn cái phần thiền định. Và vậy thì bây giờ chúng ta gọi là cái phần tiếp cận vào con đường Lam Dream. Vậy thì tiếp cận vào Lam Dream thì đối với nó phù hợp với tất cả mọi người rất là tốt. Vậy thì ở đây là Sumbawa. Sum có nghĩa là một con đường cao hơn, một con đường cao. Vậy thì nó cũng có nghĩa rằng là có nghĩa là một cái con đường giống con đường cao tốc vậy đó. Nó là một nó giống như là một cái này nó có nghĩa là một cái 5 cuốn sách là vĩ đại, 5 cuốn sách to lớn tuyệt vời vậy đó. Nó có những cái cuốn luận giải trong từng cuốn sách này. Và nên là họ Kachumpa, Ka cũng có nghĩa là cũng có một cái gì đó nó là cổ xưa. Chu có nghĩa là cái sự có nghĩa là nó là một cái sự sâu sắc hơn, cái sự tiếp cận sâu sắc hơn. Nó có thể là nó sẽ mất nhiều thời gian hơn, giống như là thầy Geshe đã có 25 năm để tham dự khóa học của Geshe. Vậy thì bây giờ cái điểm mà tôi muốn bạn nghĩ ngày hôm nay đó là mỗi người đều có những cái sự khác nhau, cái tính cách khác nhau. Mỗi người sẽ có những cái mục tiêu, mỗi người sẽ có những cái cuộc đời khác nhau, những cái tình cái
you might have a family situation, you might be single. We don't, So each person has a different personality. Each person has a different talents. We call inner talent, and each person has a different family situation or life situation. So there's different approaches, and ACI. The history of ACI is that. By the way, I was in New York last week, I guess, and I visited the Three Jewels Center. They asked me to give a talk, and we started that place 31 years ago, and it was a nice, it's nice that they invited me to come. And ACI originally in New York, I was finishing my Geshe degree, and I wanted to teach a version of the Geshe degree that didn't take 25 years. And I thought you could shorten the important stuff. By the way, 25 years in the monastery, as Jack and Rebecca found out, they don't study every day, and they don't study all day. Like, they'll take 2 months off, or it's pretty chaotic, actually, the Geshe course. And my pre-Geshe exam, somebody told me 2 minutes before the exam I should run to the temple because I was going to get examined to see if I could become a Geshe after 20 years of work, And they gave me about 5 minutes to get there, and that's very typical. So I don't think they're sitting there for 25 years and studying all day. They take a lot of breaks. If some big teacher is going to teach in, up in the Himalayas, everybody will leave. Then visitors come to the monastery and there's nobody there, and So anyway, but I thought it was too long. I thought you could shorten it to 7 years. So I shortened it to 7 years, and we created a ACI course that takes 7 years. And then the students in New York who finished the 7-year ACI course, 18 foundation courses, which is really 15 courses plus 3 review courses. Then I allowed them to come to Diamond Mountain. And I think there was 80 survivors from New York who came here. And then this was a 7-year Diamond Way course. And it was intense. And so it's 14 intense years, you know. And then there are other subjects which you have to study. Anyway, so I was at Princeton, and I haven't gone back for almost 20 years or something. I haven't gone back there, and there's a Diamond Silk Entrepreneur University MBA program. They asked me to go to Princeton and teach there for the MBA program, and we went to the hotel across the street from the university so we could tell everybody we taught at Princeton. So anyway, but it was pretty awesome. And then they asked me to give classes at my old diamond jewelry company. And so I haven't been there for 20 something years. And that's a huge, huge building. It's one of the largest, it is probably the largest manufacturing building in Manhattan. And so that building was sold to a movie company. After Warren Buffett bought our company, he moved the company. And then that was, and nowadays they rent it out. So we rented a whole floor. And we had classes there, and it was really nice. So anyway, at Princeton, I have a story to tell you. So in general, I'm thinking there's a structural problem with ACI, which is that there's too much to learn. There's too much to master, you know. If you really had a PhD ACI, right? ACI PhD, it would easily take 25 years, you know, to master everything for ACI. The Lam Rim took 14 years. The Diamond Way took 7 years. The ACI Foundation took 7, that's 28 years. You know, and that doesn't mean you're a teacher. That means you learned the stuff. So to be a teacher, maybe 40 years, I don't know. And it's too much. I think it's overwhelming for people. So Tim and I spent a lot of time working on it, and we were thinking, how do you really create an ACI teacher? Because 40 years is too much to ask, I think. Then they're too old to teach. They forget everything when they're 40 years, you know. And it's just too much, you know. And how do you check somebody is a good teacher? How do you make sure they're teaching the right thing? How do you make sure they're not hurting the students or taking advantage of the students? And it's very, very complex and very difficult. And so we had an idea, and it came from, ta-da, first picture. This is Princeton University last week, and this is the one. These are two of the MBA classes, EMBA and MBA classes, and we had classes there. And this is kind of an iconic house at Princeton, and at Princeton they call them houses. And it's similar at Oxford, and what's the other great university? Hogwarts. And there's houses, you see what I mean? And I don't know, you can call them, they're not quite fraternity or sorority. They are academic houses. And it's kind of a specialty, you know. So you can have we visited my department building. And it's a beautiful building that was built in 1879. And that's where my department, I was in the Department of Religion. My degree was in religion with some Russian and Sanskrit. But this is one of the houses at Princeton. Right below there is called Matthew College, right? And at Princeton, you become a sort of a family member of a certain house, you know, and that becomes your house for the rest of your life, you know. And when people from Princeton, when you say, what house are you? They'll say a certain house. And then that's your affiliation. That's the house you belong to. In the monastery, they have 12 kamsen, 12 traditional colleges or houses. And you guys are from Gerong house because you're my student. If your teacher's from Gerong house, you're from Gerong house. So Gerong, if you're interested, Gerong is east Tibet. And they speak a strange dialect it's between Chinese dialect and Tibetan dialect. So Kirumuchi Kiko Gyapking, like that. It's a very strange dialect, and only a few people understand it. But what happened was, and in Princeton we had Arizona group, and we had California group, and we had England group, and you know, we had our own house. And then in time you get affiliated with a certain house, and that group of people in your house is like in the monastery. They are brought together by, it could be by region that they grew up, you know, and they speak the same dialect. But it could also be by what do you enjoy and what do you want to do with your life, you know? Like in your life, what would you like to be? And, you know, when you get out of Princeton, by the way, there's another tower like this. And one of my classmates, you have to finish a senior thesis at Princeton as an undergraduate, like a PhD thesis, not as long. And then he finished his thesis, which is very stressful. It takes about 8 months or something. And then he went up on top of that tower and he jumped off. He gave his thesis to his director, and he, you know, that was the first class member to pass away the day before graduation, you know. And it's really intense pressure, really, really intense pressure. So anyway, this is one house at Princeton, and so we took a picture there because it's such a beautiful tower, and it's such a beautiful place. And then I was wandering around with Rob and Stanley Nelson, and they took a film crew with us. They film everything. And it was really fun because everybody thought we were important. But actually we hired the film crew. So it was, then Rob and me decided anytime we go anywhere, we're going to hire a film crew. Because all the students were like, you know, and so anyway, we went for a walk, and I found the house that I was affiliated with was called Proctor House, okay? And and I lived there. They have their own building. And my last year, my last 6 months, I lived there. And it's for religion. It's for people who are focusing on, they want to go into a career of religion, some kind of religion. So we had Buddhist Geshe candidate, we had priest candidates, minister candidates. You know, it's basically a house for people who want to devote their lives to religion. And it's a, I don't know how to describe it. If you saw Hogwarts, it's like your spirit or your karma, right? In Hogwarts, they use a hat and they predict what house you're supposed to be in. And it's very, very related to your seeds and your karma, you know, and which house you end up in affects your whole life, the rest of your life, probably many lifetimes. And and it's a strange journey. It's a strange thing, you know. I just showed up at Proctor House one day because they were serving free hamburgers. And, you know, I wasn't vegetarian yet. And I ate a lot of them. And so anyway, but now I feel, there was a priest there. He's now in charge of Proctor House. And when we sat down, the four of us sat down, and we had five of us, and we had a beautiful talk for an hour, I think. And he didn't even know who was the head of Proctor House when I was there, because I left 50 years ago, exactly 50 years ago. You know, and I was telling him stories that he didn't know about Proctor House. And the house felt really special. I was in that house when my mom passed away. So I remember I was sitting there. So that house means a lot to me. And I realized I have a big connection to this house. Now I'm stuck with 2 new projects for the house. You know, he's like, oh, you're in business. Maybe you'd like to support something. And I'm like, yeah, I would like to support something. So I have supported, I'm supporting some projects there to train people in religion, to train people in spiritual path. And most of those people will become a priest or a minister or a monk. And it's a beautiful place. So I'm donating a couple of scholarships to that house. So what I was thinking while we were there was maybe the house structure could help ACI. You know, like maybe we could define, in my opinion, there are 5 houses of ACI. And it's to master all of them, you know, it would take 30, 40 years. And I don't know if it's a good idea. I think you're too spread out. You see what I mean? How are you going to take 14 years of courses and then do the other things? You know, if you add Diamond Way, then, you know, and then if you add Lamrim, that's 28 years. And I think if ACI wants to produce masters, then I think it'd be like a PhD, you know, like you don't go to Princeton and try to take all the PhDs. You go crazy and you would never finish. You would die first. And that's the ACI also. So I thought, Tim and I thought to propose 5 houses. And of course, you could take all the topics you want out of ACI, and you're welcome to be a student in all 5 houses, you know, or you're welcome to take all 5 different kinds of courses that ACI has. But if you want to graduate or you want to be a master, then our proposal is that you put on the hat and it tells you what house you're going to be in. Slytherin house. All right. and like that. And and then in time, I think it'd be nice. Those houses, anywhere I go in the world, my house is there. Like I went to Hong Kong, and my house has a branch there, and they welcome me like a family member, and it's cool, So you could have ACI houses like that. I mean, it'd be. We also went and did an interview at Madison's house, Madison House. What's it called? The other name, President's House. There's a small house at Princeton. It was the first house ever built, and it's a small, old-fashioned, wooden house, brick now, and it's called President's House. And who was there? We did an interview under the picture of James Madison, who's the first graduate student from Princeton and the fourth president of the U.S. And his hair is similar. And so we went there and we saw this beautiful house. And I think we'd like to propose 5 houses. And we'd like to propose that you can be a student in everything. That's fine. And you can jump around and take different courses. Like I took courses in psychology, history, music, philosophy. I took all kinds of different courses, but I majored. I focused in one house. And so we'd like to explore something like that. And it's kind of exciting to be there at the beginning, of a house. And these houses have lasted at Princeton for over 200 years. And they have a lot of history. And they have a lot of cool, vibration. The building is like, has a feeling, has a deep feeling. And then the students, there's a song, Fight Ye Loyals, and you feel like it's your family, or you feel like this is my house, And so anyway, this is a meditation, by the way. You don't think so, but it may be the most important meditation you ever did. I'm going to go through the 5 houses, and it will take 5 days, okay? And maybe by the end of the week, you try to imagine what house you would like to be in. And the difference between this house and Princeton House is that you have to build it. I don't mean a physical place. I mean, you have to build a community of that house, and it will cover many countries, and it will cover many ages and men and women. And okay, but this week, smell what house you would like to join. Okay, we don't have the hat. We tried to get the hat, so you're going to have to decide yourself. We should have brought my Geshe hat. So we'll talk about it for a week. We'll meditate, think about it for a week. And during this week, I will describe the different houses. And then, see which one you would like to, if it were already here for 200 years, which house would you like to join? Okay, you just have an extra detail. You have to start it. You have to help start it, okay? Which I think is exciting. I like to be, in business we call it I like to start at the ground level. I like to be in at the ground level. It means I like to be there on the first day that they start the house, So we're going to describe the houses and then meditate on it, okay? This week in your retreat. it's not a small decision. It's like, what's your PhD going to be? And at Princeton, you have to decide that when you are 18 years old, you have to decide what's your major. And then you have to follow that for the next 40 years or 50 years. You see what I mean? So it's a big decision. And think about it carefully. I have two theories. One is do what you're attracted to. It's like join the house that you're attracted to. That's one theory. Here's my other theory. Of all the topics in the Geshe course, the one which I hated the most was logic. Okay. And my teacher taught me logic for, I don't know, 10 years. And he didn't speak English, but he thought he spoke English. And he had a guy sitting next to him who translated his English into English. And can you imagine that with logic? And it was terrible. And it was very frustrating. And I hated it. And I didn't know why he was teaching that, And then I remember I was walking. I used to live in a garage. There was no housing for me. I had to live in a garage, unheated garage in New Jersey, and on the cement floor. And I remember I was walking to my garage, and there was this tree. I don't know why. I stopped next to the tree, and I said, I'm going to learn this goddamn logic thing. I'm going to master it, And so I decided to master it. And I did. And it took years. And because I was so bad at it, I thought I should like to master it, And then, so, you hear what I'm saying? You can join the house, and don't forget that means you're going to help create the house, which I think is fun. So maybe you want to choose the one that attracts you, okay? And that's kind of a wimpy way out. Wimpy means not courage, no courage. Or you could join the house that you hate the most and master it, because that means your personality or your mind is missing something. Okay, if you hate logic and you don't understand logic, that means out of all the Geshe course topics, you're missing that one. So maybe you want to join that house and make up for a hole in your personality. You see what I mean? To fill the hole in your personality. So I challenge you either way. I think there's a time and a place to join the house which is obviously attractive to you. And that's what I did at Princeton. I joined Proctor House. And these are all religious scholar fanatics. And I loved them, and they loved me, and many generations. And we all feel the same way. Or maybe you want to help build a house that you hate, and it's something you're not interested in at all, and you're not good at. You see what I mean? So if you focus on something you're not good at, you become more whole. And so I encourage you to spend this week thinking which house you'd like to join or help create. And this is all experimental. This is because of a trip to Princeton and some experience I had there. It may fail completely. It may be a year from now, nobody even remembers the house talk. Okay, I don't know. But I think it would solve a problem with ACI, which is that it's hard to specialize in ACI. It's hard to get a PhD in ACI. There's so many courses, and there's so many programs, and there's even all kinds of teacher training things going on. Some are ACI, some are half ACI, some are called ACI and are not ACI. And, you know, to have a, and by the way, those are fine. Those are wonderful. That's fine. As long as they don't hurt anybody, they're fine. But I would like to see a real ACI PhD. You could specialize in a, and by the way, when I say PhD, I don't mean a paper. You know, somebody asked, I was giving a talk to the EMBA, and it came up, somebody wanted to see my degree. That's the first person in my life who ever asked me to prove I went to Princeton, and I found it. I found the degree. I have a picture of it, and it was funny. It was in Latin, and we were talking about how how modern universities are prejudiced towards Western classical knowledge, Greek and Roman, and they don't mention 5,000 years of Asian knowledge. You see what I mean? So our university is an attempt to balance the two. I'm going to go through the different houses, and you kind of see which one might be attractive to you. And that's an open-eyed meditation, okay? I call it an open-eyed meditation. It's kind of a contemplation, but you can continue it this week. And dream, okay? And dream. I want it to happen, and I think it will be good for ACI. Tim and me thought it would really help ACI for many hundred years, the way it has helped Princeton, for example. Nobody tries to get a PhD in everything. And socially, you hang out with people from your house, and you do things together, and you build a spirit. You build like a house spirit, and I like it. And when I went back to my house and sat there for an hour, I just wanted to cry. You know, it was like, I'm home, you know. So, okay. And then it would be like that. And then you specialize, and then you become a teacher in these are called houses of the masters, master houses, you know. So the idea is you can take ACI the rest of your life. You can enjoy ACI. You're very welcome. But if you'd like to teach, if you'd like to pass it on, then our proposal is join a house and become a master of that. And that takes about 10 years or something. I don't know. You know, I joined that house 50 years ago, and I'm just getting comfortable. Okay? So, I'm not saying it'll take 10 years, but I don't know. 5-year program, something like that. Okay? In your house. Like, what's a PhD take? PhD takes, depends on how much you have. I'd say 5. We'll talk about it, okay? All right, you're waiting for me to talk about 5 houses. We got about 7 more minutes, Tim? Okay, that's a cruel clock to put up for a grandpa. I need one with the big hands, you know. Okay? All right. I'm just gonna give you the names of the 5 houses. We're just gonna start, okay? And then I'm gonna spend, Tim and I will spend the whole week giving you more information about each house, okay? But I think this is the real meditation in the next 5 minutes. And I want you to look at the associated image and see how you feel, okay? So this is not an intellectual decision. This is a heart feeling. You think, oh, that's my thing. You know, if I became a master teacher, that's what I would like. So the idea is you can join the house your whole life. You can just be a member of the house. Or you can join the house, become a member, and then become a master inside that house. That's up to you. You don't have to teach. You don't have to be a PhD. But so you can just join that house and hang out with other people like you as a member of the house. But you could also work your way up to be a master at the house. And I would say I'm a master at Proctor House now after 50 years. You know, I feel like a master. And I was kind of telling the current director what he didn't know. Okay, but that's all the time. Anyway, so you can become a master in your house, or you could just become a member and enjoy for the rest of your life. Okay, being around your housemates. Okay. All right. First house is called Classics House. Okay, and we played with names, and you know, it was really just an excuse to eat more Peachtree cinnamon rolls. But first one is Classics House, and this is the classic ACI 7-year course, 18 courses, okay? The foundation courses, okay? Does that mean, Geshe-la, you just take those courses for the rest of your life? No, it means you're attracted to the classics. You know, when you open those notebooks, you feel, you know, okay? And I know there's some people in here like that, and I know there's a lot of people in here are not like that. And there's a lot of people in the universe who are not like that. They look at those courses and they leave, you know? So if you're the kind of person who opens opens one of those 18 foundation course notebooks, and you go, ooh, this is so sexy, you know, then maybe you're a Classics House person. And in my mind, the picture I get is this, you know, it's like some kind of master scholar or something like that. Maybe a bookworm, but a practical bookworm, you know, okay? And it's a recognized part of the Lam Rim called personality types. What's your personality type? This is called the Shungbawa, Sei Shungbawa. They're attracted to the classics, and they slobber over Nagarjuna. Okay? And that's one option, okay? And that's the classic 18 courses of ACI foundation courses. They're called foundation courses, but they're hard-ass courses, as you know. They are Geshe quality. They are Geshe. This is basically a Geshe degree. Okay, so if the Geshe thing's attractive to you, or if it's not attractive at all, you might want to join Classics House. Okay, understand? Don't forget. You guys forgot really fast about that option. Okay, and we'll have many more details to share. But see where your heart goes, pity pat. We call tick, tick, tick. Your heart goes, oh, that guy looks so cool. I want to be like that. Yeah, okay, all right. Second house, and then we're done, okay? And then we'll take a pee break and start the translation class. Samadhi house, okay? And this is a meditation master, okay? This person, the first person is attracted to the classics. The second person is attracted to becoming a meditation master, okay? And especially attracted to teaching their own students meditation, you know. So they are serious master. I'm not talking about people who never meditated before taking a 3-week course and then they become a meditation master, okay? Right? This is like, I spent 50 years at Proctor House. I'll let you do 40 if you want. But you're serious. You're a serious master. Master is master, okay? not a teacher training. Okay, it's you want to master it, and you want to be a lifetime. It's a PhD, meditation PhD. Okay, and by the way, this is not book learning only. This is heavy duty classics texts on meditation, Bhavana Krama, all three, and then you spend a hell of a lot of time practicing and getting good at it, okay? And until you're a real master, okay? And then you're a master at Samadhi House. And people who are attracted or they want to learn meditation, they come to Samadhi House. They may join it and they may not join it. You see what I mean? But if a student comes up to Tim and says, I need more meditation, I don't understand how to meditate. Okay, go to Samadhi House, talk to the masters. That's where we keep the Samadhi masters. Okay, got it? Can you still meditate if you're not in Samadhi House? Duh. Okay. But this is where the masters are, okay? This is where the 50-year masters are hanging out, okay? All right, third house. I call it mountain house. We call it mountain house. Retreat master. These are the retreat masters. And it will work closely with Innovation Retreat Organization, I think. There will be close work together. And these are the retreat masters. These people. But when you talk about retreat, and we'll talk more about it, but there are classic Diamond Way retreat, 1,000 days. And then there's a 3-day business group retreat where you solve a business problem or something. And both masters are hanging out at Mountain House, okay? Go to Mountain House. Okay, you don't have to join Mountain House. You can go there for 6 months, talk to the Mountain House masters, get a good foundation in retreat skills, and then go back to your Samadhi House. You see what I mean? Or go back to your, what was the first one called? Classics House. Okay. We'll get used to the names. And Gina's working on your, what do you call those things? The logo of the house, like Slytherin. Okay, snake on a shield, right? Okay, so that's Mountain House. And retreat skills are deep and many skills, and we have them. We teach them, and Diamond Mountain we have a place. I mean, it took 25 years to build this place. It's the largest retreat center in the world, possibly. It's 1,096 acres or something. We own all these mountains, all the rocks, cactuses, snakes. Okay. So anyway, that's a whole different house. Okay. Can you still do retreat if you're a classics master? Yes, you're expected to, but that's not that's not your affiliation. Okay, official. Okay, staircase house. What's that? That's Lamrim. Okay, and listen, it took 7 years to teach the ACI Foundation courses. It took 14 years to teach the Lamrim. We will finish in Kyoto in December. And if you're not there, you're an idiot. Okay, because that's the end of a 14-year project, and you should be there. I mean, you should be there. And we're also lucky we survived to the end of the 14 years. We didn't know when we started, when Rebecca was picking bed bugs out of Prescott Boy Scout camp. Remember? We were sleeping in Boy Scout camp. The beds were too short. They had bed bugs. And they were stacked like this. And one lady smashed her head. She woke up and she sat up. And boom. And lots of fun. Then it snowed for the first time in 50 years or something. Anyway, it's a deep thing. If you're attracted to staircase lam rim, it means you're attracted uh, to sharing spirituality with people in a way which is more accessible, and they don't have to study logic. Okay, they don't have to study the Geshe course. They don't have to go deep into Nagarjuna, which is what you're gonna do this week. Okay, it's lam rim. It's more comfortable. It's kind of Buddhism for everybody. Okay, but powerful, very, very powerful. Okay, so is that who you want to be? Do you want to be a master at lam rim, right? And go to Turkey and teach on the beach? I mean, it has its attraction. Okay, last one. Then we gotta stop and pee. Diamond House, and I use the picture because it's one of my favorite pictures. But it's a diamond cutting machine. There's a diamond between the two fingers here, and but the point is not the diamond. The point is the business. Okay, the point is not the diamond. The point is the business. I spent 19 years in that that wonderful building in the corporate life. Okay, and I trained countless people in Buddhism who never knew they were being trained. Okay, I'm not kidding. Okay, Ani Pelma was an accident. Okay, but secret Buddhism. Okay, you're a master. You are training people in your business, customers, suppliers, investors. Okay, and nobody knew I was a Buddhist. I mean, after a long time, some of my close friends ended up coming to class or something. But I'd say 95% of it was a secret path. 95% of the people didn't know I was a Buddhist, and they didn't know I was teaching Buddhism. But all day, every day, my staff was learning Buddhism and real Buddhism, and it became the largest diamond jewelry company in the world, $250 million a year, and Warren Buffett bought it. So either it was goddamn good luck, or there was something going on, okay, inside. And that's secret. That's invisible Buddhism, okay? Got it? Right? And maybe that's where you want to be. Maybe that's the house you want to be in. I'm not talking, kill chickens and drink blood, and it's not that kind of secret Buddhism, okay? There is no such thing, okay? This is an invisible practice that changes the people around you, okay? And your Ngagyo, what's Ngagyo? Your identification with the divine is going 8 hours a day, as you work. You are Vajrayogini sitting in the office buying diamonds, You see what I mean? And it's a powerful secret practice. Nobody knows what you're thinking. And but you are affecting the people around you. I would say it was the most successful jewelry business in the world, and it was the most ethical one. You understand? That's secret Buddhism, okay? That's Diamond Way, okay? And you might want to join that house. Okay, all right, so I'm going to stop there because we got a pee-pee. I keep saying that, right? And each day that I teach, we will talk a little bit more about each house. But try to, at home today, examine your heart and say, where did my heart go dung, dung, dung? And maybe it was at the logic place. Like, ew. Okay, so start thinking. Okay, and it's exciting to be here on the first day of the 5 houses of the masters. 5 houses of the masters. Okay, thank you. Go. You're in the